Good morning everyone. This video I'm going to tell you a bit more about getting ready for a market, setting up the market stall, and all the do's and don'ts for a market. Maybe for now just the do's. Yeah, the don'ts also. We'll do both. The first biggest don't procrastinate. I've got the regular Saturday market, so I've got a system with that. When I get home from the market, I unpack the boxes, fill them up, and they're ready to just pack in the car. All my stuff that I take to the market every week is in boxes or crates, so it's literally offload, fill up the stock, load, go to the market. But now I've got this big market. It's the Knysna Oyster Festival. It's every year. It's a 10-day event, and this year I was invited to the neighborhood makers tent. Now how they work with this market, you label all your products and it's like a supermarket. Customer walks in on the one end, they can browse around all the stalls, take whatever they want, and they go to the checkout point. And I'm like, I've got the stock, I've got the labels. And suddenly I realized yesterday my shelving isn't right, because they provide tables, but I want height in my stall. I've got one set of shelves, but I'm limited to one table in this instance, so I've got to make sure I've got another set of shelving. So I ran to the local hardware store, got me the wood, so I'll be doing that later today. And then I'll need a tablecloth or some sort of something to cover those shelvings, because the one I've got is only for the single shelf. So do not procrastinate. If you know you're going to have to need to do things, do them in advance, that you don't have a rush day to get everything ready at once. What I do have for my regular market, let me just get that one here, is a packing list. My tablecloths, my banner, making sure everything that I've got to take is there. And like I said, with my regular market, the Saturday market, I don't even use my packing list anymore, because I've got a system in place and it works. For this Knysna Oyster Festival neighborhood makers tent, driven by Standard Bank, I've got to mark each item with the SKU code. There you see the codes and the product name and the amount. So I'm busy with those labels. I've got the staff putting the labels on for me now. So my day today is going to be making the shelving, going to the material shop and getting some material and making the covers for those shelves and packing the boxes. Now, a few things that I want to highlight that you do need to make sure you take to the market. Number one, a packing list. I've already touched on that. But as you think about things that you might need at the market, write them down on the list. And when you get ready to go to the market, make sure you take everything you thought about. Signage, it can be either blackboards, whiteboards. I had little stands made for my jams about 3 years ago, where the jar would stand on this and it gives you the name of the product and the price of the product. These tend to break here quite often. So I spoke to the guy that does all my labeling and signage, and he came up with this. It's a plexiglass one. Bottle stands on the little stand, and it's got the name of the product there. Let me put it behind my face, then you can probably see it better. These are a little shorter than the wooden ones I had, so I cannot put the price there. So I got myself a price labeler, so I can just put the prices on the lid of the jar. So you need to have your display what are you selling and prices. People don't like asking for prices. I often found when the prices were still on this, people would look at the product standing right here, they'll lift it up, they look underneath for a price. Now underneath my jaws is my sell-by dates, and they'd walk away and I'd say, can I help you? And they'd say, what's the price of that? Even though the price is right there. So I found since I've marking the products on the product, people are more prone to, okay, this is what it cost, I want it. If your product isn't, I don't know, let's say for example you make soaps and they're in a nice little Hessian bag or whatever, and you can't really stick a price on, make a little price tag. You have to have your prices on your product. Under signage, the same thing is boards, blackboard or a whiteboard, or just boards that you can put up. People want to stand from a distance sometimes. I find at Wild Oats that often happens. Now, above my head, I've got a row of little boards at the Wild Oats with just a summary of all the products in that area of the store. So people can come and they look up and they see, okay, she's got that. Okay, let's go and see, where's that? So having signage that people can look from far helps. They want a jam, they want to know if you've got this jam, but they might be too shy to come into your store. So make it easier for your customer that they can see what you've got without having to come right into your store. If they see something on your signage that they are interested in, they will come in. If you don't have signage up and they like not really outgoing people, they won't be coming into your store. Having tasters, I've stopped doing that for the simple reason I'll have 20 different tasters and people will come in and say, but no, I want to taste that product and I don't have that product and I don't want to open another jar. Given I've got smaller jars, but it's just, for me, I just stopped doing tasters. But if you do tasters, there's a few things you must remember. The product must be covered at all times. You can't just put an open little bowl there with a taster in. By law, your product must be covered. I had a long discussion with my health inspector about that one day, and he said, cover your product. So I've put the little jars out covered, even with the name of the product on top as well. And then I had teaspoons, clean spoons, used spoons. So tasters does help, but I can't say that I've sold less since I haven't had tasters. People tend to just buy a small jar to go and taste it and then come back for a bigger jar. So you can have tasters, but it's not necessary. Other things that I recommend you get is a tablecloth or some covering for your table. It just makes it more polished, rounded off. Now, if you're just starting out with stalls, don't go to big expenses. Signage could be just plain laminated printouts that you made, and then you can use them again and again and again. Or if you don't have the right tablecloth but you've got a sheet that'll go and work, do that. Don't overextend until you've got your stalls going and your regular income, because you don't want to spend a whole lot of money and then you think like, okay, I've spent all this money setting up my stall, but I didn't sell enough to make the money back. So when you start off with a stall, go with what you've got. In time you can expand, and like this was a cheaper option for me 5 years ago, whereas I only recently, like 3 months ago, invested in these. They just work for me better. What else? I can't think of anything else now. I've got everything on my list that I mentioned. So having said all that, join me for the rest of the day, and making the shelves, getting the material for the shelves, and making the cloths for the shelves, and packing the boxes and doing the labels. Let's get working, people. Hi, it's me again. We've got a slow day at the cooking side. We're only doing makatan today because it takes the whole day to cook, right? On this side, I'm busy packing for the Knysna Oyster Festival. Now, what's nice about that, we will be in the homemaker's tent and it's funded, I think, or driven by Standard Bank, yes. So the Knysna Oyster Festival is starting in 2 days' time, and we've got to go and deliver all our stock on Thursday, and we're busy counting out the stock we want to take. Tandiwe is busy putting the price labels on, and then we'll pack them in the boxes, mark the boxes, and do the next lot. I only came up to the peach jam now, so the rest of the alphabet will be a bit later. See ya. Hi again. I'm busy making the little gift boxes for the market stall. I'm just going to show you one because I've got lots of other things to do, and I can do this later tonight. The lighting here is not good in the day. I'm in my house, the dining room table, doing some crafty stuff, which I also love, so I enjoy doing this part. Let's get going. I get the boxes made, cut. I made a template and then took it to the guy that does all my labeling and everything. What I need to do is I need to score them, that I can fold them. So I score them on all the lines. I've got a scoring tool, but it's too thick, it doesn't work lacquer, so I just use a teaspoon. Score the lines that I need to be able to fold, and that way, and then this way. I need one there, and then one for the little windows. There you go. You'll understand now how these fold in and there. Then I fold them like this. These fold in. Let me get them closer. These fold in. So I fold the whole box. I'll glue these ends together and use like washing pegs after I've glued them to let it set in, and then once I've got the box glued and set in, I'll just refold those in, and then I've got a small lemon and lime marmalade. Go in there. A small strawberry jam, and a small apricot jam. Close it up, pop in the little lip, pop in that little thingy-mabobby that keeps it closed, and there is my little gift boxes. On to the next thing. So, I got so carried away, me and my friend Wayne that's helping me, with making this, we never realized the battery ran flat. So, I have got two sets of shelves, they're loose, so that's for easy transport. And then, I've still got to go make the covers for these shelves now. See you later. I just came down to the site of the Oyster Festival. There's lots of people around here. And this is where my stock will be in. It's called the Neighborhood Makers, powered by Standard Bank. Who's the Oyster Festival sponsored by?
Food Lovers Market.
Food Lovers Market is the main sponsor of the Oyster Festival. We'll be back tomorrow and show you how we set up. We are here on the Knysna Oyster Festival site, and that tent right in front of us is where the neighborhood makers are in. So I've already offloaded my car and did the unpacking because Blondie forgot the SD card in the camera, so forgot to put the SD card in my camera. So I'll go and show you what my setup looks like inside. So this is the stall set up at the Knysna Oyster Festival in the Homemakers Market. And sadly I couldn't take video of the packing out because I forgot the SD card. So this is just a quick clip with my phone. Thank you for coming with me for the last 2 crazy days. It was crazy. We did lots of things. And to come back to what I said at the beginning of the video, don't procrastinate. If you know something's coming up, plan accordingly. I built shelves with my friend's help. Tandiwe actually sewed all the cloths for the shelving in the that we made. In the end, everything worked out, but it was a rush and I was stressed out, and I didn't need to be like that. Thank you for watching and hope to see you soon.